All right, this madam here, I promised myself I wasn't going to cover this again. Manita, the ultimate Manita Davido. Our page got shut down. Her pages got shut down. This is a power talk now. Okay, this is power talk now. Okay. I'm just speaking my truth has limitations to it. Most likely your power is not in your mouth. I keep saying that. Either you're a man or a woman, especially if you're a man. Okay, there are people that have more power than you do. It's just reality of life. Okay. This is a good question, Sahil. Why and how did marriage become so disrespected? I don't know. That's a good conversation that we can have. Absolutely. But we're all extremely disrespectful to the institution of marriage. And the best way that it shows up is in our talking points. We're looking for active, exact sciences, talking points to oversimplify it. And I actually think it's simple. Okay? I think it's simple. But I think people are trying to add additional efforts in the weirdest directions to oversimplify it. You know, in fact, today's conversation, the debate is going to be about that too. Is somebody attempting to oversimplify the idea of marriage in the wrong direction, and it's not working. So my job is to point them out that it's not working. You know, the compliments are blowing my mind. LOL. He seems to genuinely admire her, though. People write whatever they want doesn't mean. Yeah. We'll find out more later. But we know for a fact that it didn't work. We know that that's a fact. So Davido somehow, or Davido's followers or lovers somehow found a way to shut down this woman's page. They shut down all of the 1 million followers that she got. Let me see if I can still find her. I wonder if I can find her. Let me see. Jesus Christ, they shut her down. Davido does have the power to shut down anybody's Instagram page, especially if they're using it to troll him on a consistent basis. They're using it to troll his wife. He does have the power. All he needed to do is make a few calls and he can shut it down. Okay? So I'm just saying, I don't know if that's him that did it. I'm just saying, it's a possibility. Let me see if I can find that page. Yeah, that page is gone. Gone? Am I happy that it's gone? Listen, I think, let me just say this, okay? Like I was just saying, people are moving mad in the streets. They think they can just defame people, including bloggers. Okay, they can make up stories and stuff like this. They're going to see more and more stories of people, you know, the system pushing against that. You can't just jump on the internet and defame people. There are proper ways to go about it. If you're actually pregnant for a person, you can file a lawsuit, especially if he's a citizen of the United States of America. You can jump into your court system and start the process. But the way she's been moving, it seems like there's more to it. She's dragged his wife. In fact, in recent times, she decided. I decided I didn't want to cover the story anymore, right? But recently, she dragged the wife, Davido's wife, Chioma. She talked about Chioma. She was just dragging her for no reason. Talk about she made body to blah blah blah. Why would she sit in a marriage? Why is Davido not shedding light on his marriage in public? He actually does, much more than any other average artist out there. But she was a troll for the most part, and her page is now gone. All right, so I just wanted to highlight that. Hey, let me tell you something. Maybe Davido actually was maybe he actually slept with her, right? But I keep telling you, your righteousness is not as powerful as systems, just systems around the world. Okay, there's a systemic way that this society works. Part of it is understanding power, social intelligence, emotional intelligence, right? Yeah, that's all part of it. Okay. So, and if you don't understand that, you will continue to collect. All right, I'll be right back. Let's get into the reaction. All right, what are we talking about today? We're talking about this young lady. I think her name is Tokwe. I think so. I'm not sure. I think I've heard Mariah call that Tokwe before. But anyway, she's one of the co-hosts on Your View, which is the ladies' show on TVC in Nigeria, on Nigeria TV airwaves. They go live every day. Okay, and and they were having a conversation here about the premarital partner testing kit. I came up with that, but the idea is to test your partners, and I wanted to, I'm like, I thought about it, I'm like, well, that would be ideal. Like, imagine a world where, you're able to, have like a kit, right? And it's about maybe checkpoints or something, 7 checkpoints or something like that to test if your future partner is actually viable for a lifetime, right? Thank you, Gores. Gores says, yes, her name is Tokwe. I thought so. She looks like a Tokwe too. And let me just first of all say, I do think she was being the devil's advocate to make the show more interesting, but she seemed a bit too serious, And I know that there are a lot of people out there advising people to run this kind of test on people, And I thought it'd be a good point of conversation to have today. So the idea here is that the ideal, of testing a partner and see if they pass or fail before you continue to move into the future with them. Thank you. Tokwe Mark Odije. I know the husband is somewhere towards the east, right? So this is another attempt to try to bring romantic relationships down to exact science. And every time I see it, it fails. Okay. And the litmus test, the biggest litmus test in all of this is the reaction of the people around in real time. You can actually look at the reaction of people around you in real time, and you can determine like, okay, this is not going to work, or this will work. But oftentimes, people are stuck on their obsession with being right. So even when the test is failing in real time around them, they're not paying attention. Yeah, people just want to be right.
Well, you're right.
Yeah, people have obsession with being right. So even when they can look around them and see how people react to an idea around them, they can use that to actually determine, right? The self-awareness is so low that they're not paying attention to anything in real time. They're just stuck on the idea of a premarital partner testing kit. Testing. Test her. Men are doing it, women are doing it. Make sure you test her because, to the extent of people starting conflicts intentionally to test how you will react. But let me go ahead into the video and then let's take it from there. All right. Let's take it from there. Shout out to Tokwe and Your View. We are reacting all within the fair use guidelines.
Trust in relationship or marriage is an essential recipe or tonic. In fact, there is a common saying that a marriage or union without trust is business or lifeless. Trust to many ought to come naturally or fall into place in any union, but to many, it has to be earned. The question there is how far should one go to ascertain if his or her partner is trustworthy or can be trusted? The big question also is that, is it appropriate to deliberately subject your partner or spouse to test to confirm the trust, or should it be automatic and unconditional? If your answer is yes, then there's a problem. Or if there's a problem with your spouse, or you find out that the spouse hasn't or betrayed your trust when you tested the person, what do you do? The question is born out of a story that I will narrate in a short while, but you can join the conversation by calling us on 081-764-1679 or 090-241.
All right, so before we continue, what do you think about the idea of testing, having some way, somehow, some way, let's be honest, people have real reasons to test. Especially, remember, the older you get, you've had something some types of experiences that is not exactly good experiences, and you don't want to repeat it, and you would like to make sure before you move forward into the future that this person you just met is not just the butterflies in your stomach. Let me make sure I test them. So she has a point, you know, of what she's trying to get at here, but she's talking about trust, right? So a lot of people, a lot of modern day relationships, they do think that they can force, you know, they create a correlation between this test and trust. Right? Is there a correlation between testing your partner and trust? That's the question. Okay, that's the question. But let's see what the other people are saying on that panel.
Sort of like you want to be sure that your husband is faithful or your boyfriend is faithful, so you try your friend to try out the person, and or the other way around, and you discover what you don't like. How do you go about it? What was it, Auntie Annie? Is test important in a relationship? Do you believe that people should deliberately test their partner?
I don't believe so.
All right. So Auntie Annie says, I don't believe so. Right? She seems much like a more matured older lady who seems very, very content in herself. Seems like she's sure of herself. She said, I don't think so. You know. But let's see what she has to say about that. Again, in real time, you can actually pay attention right now and see if that will ever work. Okay? You can actually pay attention now. Don't worry about the idea itself. Is an idea. It makes sense. Ideally, it makes sense. On paper, as I always say, it makes sense. Right? That you should be able to test a partner and make sure that, you know, this is forever, a forever situation.
I wouldn't do that. Unless you give me call. I don't believe so. I wouldn't do that. Unless you give me cause to do it. Because you will not live your life. You will not live a peaceful life. You just be thinking, I need to test this person.
Wait, Auntie Annie. The whole point is so I can live a peaceful life. Make her just test and be sure of what we're doing. That's the whole point now. She said, you will not live a peaceful life. We've had this conversation over and over here. We will continue to have it because it's clearly a point of contention across the board. Man and woman, right? But, you know, let's keep going. D says, I didn't like or agree with their take on a lot of issues, so I naturally stopped gravitating towards their content. I'll keep an open mind here. Yes, you keep an open mind. Absolutely. D-Lo says, if there's a test kit on the market, I would definitely buy. And then she put a LOL. She's trying to troll me. D-Love, you know you're trolling me, right? Toby and Tribe says, before I would have said no to testing, but just watching Mary Jane TV and Rosie TV here on YouTube, I was shocked at the amount of gold diggers in Nigeria. It's quite alarming. There we go. There we go. Again, the idea is peace of mind. You test, right? So this person can pass. You know, a jump test. So you can a couple of jump questions, they can pass, right? And then we can have peace of mind for the rest of our lives. That's the idea. So again, it makes sense on paper, you know. But somehow Auntie Annie is disagreeing here, and she's saying you can't have peace of mind. What's the issue here? Toby and Try says maybe testing once is okay, but not continuous testing. You might end up pushing the person away. Listen, that's a key point you just made, but let's keep listening.
Me, I don't have too many things to think. You just be thinking, I need to. You will not live your life. You will not live a peaceful life. You just be thinking, I need to test this person. Me, I don't have too many things to think about. So I don't agree with it at all.
She said, I don't agree with it at all. This reminds me of paternity test. You know, she was like, hey, just run this test on these babies so you are sure they are yours. So you can have peace of mind, right? So here's the thing. If your heart is already saying, like Auntie Yenny says, let me test, right? You probably need to do the test because there's no peace anyway. There's no peace for the wicked, right? So you probably need to do this because you won't have peace of mind until you do this test, right? The real question is that will you now finally have peace of mind after you've done the test? That's the real question. Okay. After you done this test, after you run the test kit on your partner and they passed, will you have peace of mind finally? Will you rest? Will you zukwa nuike? That's the real question that we need to be asking. Because I do think that if it's on your heart and you need to test, I probably won't be able to stop you from testing anyway. For the same exact reasons why I think those tests will fail you. Right? You won't listen anyway. So you will have to do the test. Let's continue.
I agree with you. I don't want to live a life where I'm constantly. I'm not.
That makes two. Two persons on the panel already agree with Auntie Yenny. They're not about that life, right? But let's keep going.
The police. I'm not the CIA. I want to live a peaceful. I don't want to live.
Oh.
I'm on the same. I agree with you. I don't want to live a life where I'm constantly. I'm not the police. I'm not the CIA. I want to live a peaceful life.
And I'm not the SS.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But in the course of our relationship, things will come up that would show the sort of person that you are, that would show the sort of person that I am. But to deliberately set up circumstances to see if you fall or not, I think that is a dangerous game to play. Because if the person also on the other side finds out that you have done that.
What's her name? I never know her name. I think she's from the north. These are Natu's people. She said, I think it's a dangerous game to play. On the other side of things, it's a dangerous game to marry, quote unquote, marry a person that you have not tested, Abby. Is that the idea here? Hey, Just Jay. What's going on, Just Jay? Both gold diggers. I do think they are both gold diggers. Well, you have a society where money becomes a big deal. People will become gold diggers, okay? It's so shocking, very difficult to find true love in that country. Interesting. Even would the result of the test be truly satisfying to you? That's the question we're asking. The motives behind the test. Faith, what's going on, Faith? How are you? Miriam Longe. Oh, she married to a Yoruba man? Is that Longe? Miriam Longe? Is she married to a Yoruba person? Interesting. But yeah, I think she's from the north, from what I remember. Yeah. Anyway, the idea is to have peace of mind. You run this test kit. I promise you, I'm not selling you a premarital partner test kit today, okay? All right. All I want to sell you is just think about it. Let's rub minds together, okay? Let's think about this, okay? We have 2 people already. Okay, shout out to all 34 of you watching me live, okay? This Instagram thing is probably going to be a bad idea, but I'll see what I can do about it, you know. Because if I'm pushing people over to YouTube, if I'm pushing people over to YouTube, then it will mess up with the numbers, it will mess the engagement numbers up. But I'm glad all of you came to YouTube to come and find me here. Shout out to all of you.